Hi, everyone. Welcome. Happy Tuesday. Welcome, everyone. I'm so excited you all are here this evening. My name is Dr. Stacy, and I am excited to share with you information about Lifewave, the technology that helps people improve their quality of life. I do want to share a little disclaimer with you, though, of course. I am a doctor, not a medical doctor. I will let you know that. I have a PhD in integrative medicine, a PhD in functional medicine. I've been into holistic health for the last 20 years, but I'm not your doctor. So if you have any questions about your specific health condition or concerns, please check with your doctor, of course, if you're pregnant, nursing, or on medications, anything like that. Okay, so with that being said, let's talk about Lifewave and how this technology works and how it can help you improve your quality of life, or if you're like me, can help you to prevent things from happening, right? Help with vitality and longevity and make sure that you stay healthy for a very long time. So what we're talking about tonight is a non-transdermal patch. This patch, you can see the back of it here, sticky on this side right here. This patch has nothing in it. Nothing in it, nothing going into your body. So what is this and how does this work? Well, the patch I'm going to primarily talk to you about is X39, the stem cell activation patch. So this patch is going to activate your own stem cells. Now, if you're familiar with stem cells, that's fantastic. But if you're not, I'll let you know a little secret. You're born with an abundance of them. Millions and millions and millions of stem cells when you're born. That's why you're young, you're youthful, you're vibrant, you're healthy. Those stem cells can turn into any cells or tissues or organ the body needs in order to repair. Think about when you were a kid. You had boundless amounts of energy, right? You would go nonstop, and then you'd fall over and fall asleep in a crowded room. It did not matter. You slept like a baby. You also had tons of mental energy, right? You were always learning, taking in new things. Your brain was going a million miles a minute. And then, of course, if you fell off your bike or fell out of a tree, you broke your arm, you would just get back up and take off, right? You may put on a cast, but you were gone again the next day. Everything was perfect. Like you never missed a beat. Well, if grandma falls out of bed and breaks a hip, she's not getting back up. Why is that? What happened? What happened to our body? Well, as we age, we have less and less stem cells in our body that are active, right? We're born with an abundance. They're there. They're working to keep our bodies young and youthful. They can turn into anything that's needed in the body. But by the time you're in your 30s, you have half of your stem cells that are active. They're there, or they're all there. It's just the other half are dormant. They're tired. They're wore out. They're not doing what they did when you were younger. And so you start to see the degeneration process, maybe the little lines or wrinkles, maybe you have not as good as quality of sleep as you used to, or maybe there's a few more aches and pains when you get up in the morning or get up off the couch and you're like, oh, why is this hurting? What is happening? Or maybe you don't sleep as well as you used to. Maybe your mental clarity is not as sharp, or your focus. You walk into a room and you're like, why did I walk into this room? And you turn around and walk back out. Does that ever happen? That tends to start happening when you're in your 30s. Well, by the time you're in your 60s, how many of you on here are in your 60s right now? By the time you're in your 60s, you have less than 10% of your stem cells that are active. Less than 10%. The rest are there. They're just dormant and done. They're so worn out, right? And so what happens is the body's ability to repair and regenerate itself declines. Like I said, grandma falls down, breaks her hip. She may not get back up again. She may never walk correctly again because her body's ability to heal itself is declined, right? It's declining. It's kind of like this. When you think about the body's ability to repair, when you cut your finger or if you break your wrist, it's not the Band-Aid or the cast that actually does the repairing. It's the body on the inside. And that's the stem cells, right? They're a big part of that. And so this patch actually activates, mobilizes, elevates, and resets your own stem cells back to their young, perfect, youthful, healthy state. Can you imagine that? Having a body that goes to work every single day to keep your body young and youthful and repaired and in homeostasis and balance every day. just like when you were younger, just like when you were a kid. That's what you have the ability with X39, the stem cell activation patch. So this patch, this may be the first time you've heard of this, but this patch is actually not new. It's been on the market over 4 years. The inventor of this technology, his name is David Schmidt, and he actually spent 10 years in the lab, 10 years in the lab trying to figure out how to signal the body to activate and elevate and mobilize its own stem cells for repair and regeneration. And he finally did it, and it got released a little over 4 years ago. And so it's starting to catch on, right? We can see that happening, especially here in the United States. And so if you have not heard of it, this is the first time, then please understand this is not like your traditional types of stem cell therapy. So when you, and I know this because I've done all of this with my child, when you look at traditional types of stem cell therapy, you look at stem cell injections, right? Stem cell injections are invasive. You're obviously using a needle. You're injecting something inside of the body. Could be a donor cell, could be your own blood that's pulled out and spun and put back in, which means that obviously your stem cells are whatever age that's happening at, if they're there. And, or of course, there could be some controversy around it, depending on where the cells are coming from. That's pretty scary sometimes when you look at possible, side effects or risks, improper cell division. And not to mention, stem cell injections are very costly. They're upwards, 5, 10, 12, even up to $30,000 to $50,000, depending on what country you go to get stem cell injections. I remember when my daughter was in the hospital back in 2007 and 8, the nurse was raising money. Her dad was had a surgery and it went wrong and he lost his vision during the surgery. And they were raising $100,000 to pay for him to go to China to have stem cells so he could get his vision back. $100,000 back in 2007, 2008. And I thought, that's crazy. And I banked both of my kids' cord blood, right? 21-ish years ago. So 18, 21 years ago, I banked both of my kids' cord blood. So I was familiar with stem cells and the power of stem cells and what they could do to help the body to repair and regenerate, or if there were diseases or things down the road that they could help with. But this is not an injection. This is not putting stem cells into your body, okay? This is telling your body cells to wake up. Do what you did when you were younger. Let's go to work to repair this body. So you have no risks. You have no question if this is going to function correctly in your body or not. Your body knows how to heal itself. And that's the beautiful thing about this technology, is it's saying, hey, let's do what you did when you were a kid. Let's get those stem cells active again and mobile. So how does that happen? How is this working if it's not putting anything in the body? Remember, I said this is a non-transdermal patch. Now, a transdermal patch is going to put something in the body, like a pain patch or a nicotine patch, birth control, estrogen patch. Those things put something in the body. This does not. This is a wearable light technology. And so I want to explain to you how this works, because this is what David has invented, right? And David Schmidt, if you'd like to see all of his information, all the clinical studies, all of the research data and videos with David, everything about him, you can go to startx39now.com and be able to see and read and hear all the information, all the clinical studies, all the data and research on this technology. We actually have over 90 clinical studies that have been done around the globe from doctors and researchers all over, double-blind, placebo, independent labs all over the world that have done research on not only this patch, but the other 11 that David has invented as well over the last 20 years. So how is this working then? It's a wearable light technology. Basically, this patch, when you apply it to your skin, so right now it's dark outside here on the East Coast. I don't know where you guys live, but if you look at our skin, right, you won't see anything happening, but you can feel the heat being emitted from your body. Put your hand on your chest. You're 98.6, right? And so you can feel that heat. If I were to go outside right now, it's dark. I couldn't see the neighbor or the dog outside unless I was looking through night vision goggles, right? You can't see the light being emitted off your body with your naked eye, but you can with night vision goggles. We can see that heat or light being emitted. So that is what this patch is working with. It's called photobiomodulation, right? Photobiomodulation or phototherapy, wearable light technology. And so that white part, do you see that? That white part? Embedded in that is what David has invented, okay? And so inside of that white part is a crystal lattice structure. And I always like to kind of get you to visualize what this looks like. I'm from Indiana originally. And so when we used to have decks, and the decks had lattice underneath them. So my dad could throw all of his lawnmower and yard equipment and all that stuff, right? So any of you live up north where we used to have basements, still have basements, we don't have basements in Florida, but you had decks that had lattice structure underneath it. And so that is what is similar to what's embedded in this patch, that lattice structure. But what David invented is a proprietary blend of organic amino acids, oxygen, water, sugars, and salts. And I don't mean things from your kitchen, okay? This is not table sugar. This is not salt or amino acids that you drink for a pre-workout or anything like that. These are molecules, okay? Solution of molecules that form together in a very specific way that reflect our body's light back into our body. So what's actually entering your body is a wavelength of light. And each patch is different. So each patch has a different lattice structure. And so it's going to emit a specific wavelength of light, a different wavelength of light per patch, depending on what patch it is, okay? And so if you think about it this way, I don't know if you've ever heard of infrared saunas. I have an infrared sauna. And when I sit in my sauna in the morning, I decide I'll push a button and it says detox. And so I don't see the wavelengths of light that come out. I don't feel them entering my body, but I know that this specific wavelength of light is proven scientifically to reduce toxins in my body, to detox my body out. That's why I push the detox button, right? And the next day I sit in the sauna and maybe I push anti-aging. And I know that a very different specific wavelength of light that I don't see or feel is entering my body, and it's going to help to repair skin, right? Keep my skin young and youthful. The next day I sit in and maybe there's a specific button that I push that says pain reduction. And so that's going to help any sore muscles, right? Tired muscles and things like that, reducing pain in my body. This is well known that light enters our body and causes something to happen, okay? If you were to go outside during the day, or if you're on the West Coast right now, of course, it's still light outside because it's 5:15. And that sunlight that hits your skin, the wavelength of light that comes into your body elevates your vitamin D. Light produces results. You don't feel it coming in, you don't see it coming in, but it does. And so that's how this patch works. You put the patch on, you would actually put it on in the morning. X39 is to only be worn during the day. You can put it on the back of the neck, below the belly button, or any spot works. It does not matter. Your whole body is emitting light or heat. Okay, we know that. It doesn't have to be seen by the sun. You can stick it over here under your clothes. It's still working perfectly fine. Doesn't matter where you put the patch. That patch, when you apply it, your body's heat or light that you emit is reflecting back a wavelength of light. We know scientifically, because we've done clinical studies on people, that this patch is responsible for elevating a peptide. That peptide is called GHK CU copper peptide. Leah's going to post a link for me, reverse aging with GHK.com. It's a Dr. Lauren Picard. He has spent 5 decades doing research and clinical studies with the benefits of elevating GHK CU copper peptide. Thank you, Leah. And that is where David started his research over 15 years ago, trying to figure out how to elevate the body's own stem cell production, to mobilize those stem cells and get them to working to repair the body. the damage that's been done from food, environment, stress, surgeries, injuries, illnesses, all those things, right? So you put the patch on in the morning, you leave it on 12 hours. During that time, it's elevating your GHK, Cu, copper peptide level, right? It declines as you age, just like your stem cell production. So it's fantastic. The benefits you're going to see on that site are going to be mind-blowing. Everything from asthma and allergies, COPD, all the way to breast, colon, and prostate cancer. GHK is a powerful peptide in the body. And so elevating that gives tons of health benefits, obviously. But one of the things that GHK does is it actually resets a third of your genes back to their young, youthful, healthy state. Think in utero, before I had anything environmentally in my life that has caused the damage or whatever's happened inside of my body, right? And so resetting a third of those genes immediately from the moment you put that on, the person that invited you can send you the what to expect sheet, can show you the front and back of this, or we have it on a PDF that can show you what to expect over time. There is a compound effect from using this patch day after day, week after week, month after month, even year after year. And I'm going to share with you here in just a little bit what that is and why that's so important. But I want you to understand that elevating your GHK turns on that P63 gene that mobilizes stem cells. Your stem cells go to work to repair and regenerate whatever it is your body needs in whatever order your body picks. You cannot direct your own stem cells, okay? You cannot do that. This is not a stem cell injection where we are saying, okay, my knee hurts, I'm gonna go put these, umbilical cord cells into my knee. That's not how this works. Your body knows how to heal itself, right? It has its own innate ability to know how to do that. And your stem cells will go to whatever area is needed first in your body. And your body knows that. You may say, I want this to take care of my knee pain right now. And your body says, I'm sorry, babe, your liver's shot. We're going to go there first because you've had too much beer. Probably not Budweiser, right? Anymore. That was a joke. But anyway, somebody may have found that funny. So that happens to be the hot topic with my husband on the memes, seems to be these days. Eric's laughing, but anyway. So your body's stem cells know where to go. So they're going to go there. Now, here's where the compound effect happens. Because genes express to other genes. What happens is if you've reset over 4,200 genes to their perfect healthy state, and then over time, those genes are expressing to other genes, perfect genes, resetting to genes, right? Expressing to other genes, you have this compound effect of basically your body completely repairing and regenerating itself over time. Our general rule of thumb for starting point is 1 month for every 10 years you are old. So that means if you're in your 50s, it's going to take 5 months to get up to your full stem cell regeneration point. 66 months, 77 months, 80s, 8 months, right? Will you experience things during that time frame? Yes, of course you will, right? Our clinical studies show that around 3 to 6 weeks is when most people, about 80% of the people, start to feel some differences. They notice differences in pain reduction, more mental energy, clarity, concentration, focus. I have people tell me all the time, I got more done in 2 weeks than I've gotten done in 2 years. That's because your brain is on point. It's awake, right? They have more physical energy. They have more faster recovery from activity and fitness, from daily activity. They have faster wound healing. They have better sleep, deeper quality sleep. And we start to see in the clinical studies improvements in the nervous system, the digestive system, the immune system around that time as well too. But guess what? If you guys have been following me for a while, you probably saw my Zooms back in February. If not, go to my YouTube channel, DRSTACI, Dr. Stacy. If you saw my Zooms about heart health, with the X39 stem cell activation patch, we don't see any changes in the cardiovascular system or the entire vascular system in week 1 or week 2 or week 3 or even week 4. People are like, I want results in 30 days. Great. You did not get in this situation in 30 days. It's going to take longer than 30 days to get results. But what we see in our clinical studies is not at week 5, but at week 6. Week 6, we start to see significant improvements in the entire vascular system. So think about that. Think about repair and regeneration. Heart disease is the #1 killer. #1, hands down, #1 killer. We only have one heart. We want to repair it. We want to keep it young and youthful and healthy. We want it functioning correctly. Knowing that the longer you use this X39, the more benefits it's going to have in everything, including your heart, right? We see Dr. Harmon, who had a right branch bundle block. I say had because he had one, and those don't go away. And his did, and his cardiologist had no explanation for it. Of course, X39, right? The patch. How does that happen? Because stem cells repair anything and everything that's needed. Now, that took months for that to happen. I think if I remember correctly, 7+ months. His PVCs went away that he'd had his entire life. How did that happen? Repair and regeneration over time, right? Dr. Sanders, who's a pharmacologist, had a heart attack in his 40s. His heart was functioning in the mid-70s. 1 year on X39, and it's functioning in its 30s. He'd been on medication for years. That didn't help. He'd been on supplements for years. That didn't help. Nothing changed the age of his heart except for X39. X39 improved the functionality of his heart after a year. That's what I'm talking about. That is the compound effect when you really start to see the repair and regeneration. And you may have a lot of things going on with you. You may have a long list, and I'm going to let you guys, obviously you're already asking questions, and I'm going to address those here in a minute. But these things on your list can all be resolved with time. Time is going to happen no matter what. That's a fact. We are going to either get older or we are going to get younger. We are either going to degenerate or we're going to regenerate. You get to pick. This technology allows you to help your body, assist your body in doing what it did so well when you were younger. And that's to repair and regenerate, restore and rejuvenate the body back to homeostasis, which means balance. And you can get there. And I know there's, you're probably people are on medications, you're taking supplements. This is non-transdermal, which means nothing's entering the body, which also means there are no contraindications to any things that you're currently doing, whether it's medically or nutritional food. You don't have to worry about that. When you're on medicines, you have to look at food. You have to look at supplements. You have to look at other medications for contraindications. There's nothing going in the body, so there's nothing to worry about, right? Which is a beautiful component of this technology. And so, like I said, the longer you use this, the more benefits you will receive. I can't tell you how long it's going to take for you to get the results you want. I know people want to know that. And it's kind of like when you go to the doctor and get a medication and he's like, your blood pressure is this, you take the medicine, your blood pressure will be down right away. Your anxiety is this, you take this Xanax and your anxiety is gone right away. Is the heart really repaired? And is the issue at the root of the anxiety really repaired? Or did we just mask a symptom? And I'm not saying there's not purpose for medicine. Of course, there are purposes for medicines in life-threatening situations and issues where we need it. Absolutely, 100%. But when you're looking at, let's get to the root of the problem. This is going to get to the root of your problem. And like I said, I want to say this because this is going to lead into me what I'm going to say next. You cannot pick where your stem cells go first. And so therefore, you cannot know for sure what of the things on your list that are bothering you are going to be eliminated in what order. We don't know. But we do have supportive patches. As I mentioned in the beginning, David's been doing this for 20 years. Right? He invented his first patch 20 years ago when he was working with the Navy SEALs, the energy enhancer. He was downloaded that information by the divine to create a non-transdermal patch that triggered beta oxidation, which means turns body fat into fuel that helped the SEALs with sustainability, endurance, energy, and stamina in the field instead of caffeine, amphetamines, uppers, and things like that. And so over the last 20 years, he has invented a dozen different patches, all to support different organs and systems in the body, which is where all of our clinical studies are done. So if you're a doctor, a nurse, a practitioner, or if you just want to know, where's a clinical study on diabetes, or where's a clinical study on POTS, or where's a clinical study on autism? We do not have those, and nor will we ever, because we would claim to treat or cure, and we are not here to do that. Remember, we are not here to treat, cure, or diagnose anything. This product is FDA cleared in the general wellness sector as a wellness product. It is phototherapy, which is a wearable light technology. Okay, as I mentioned earlier, photobiomodulation. And so knowing that, know that the other patches that I'm going to mention will help your organs or systems, because that's where our clinical studies are rooted in, right? Looking at the functionality of the systems and organs in the body. We will be able to help assist that area probably in a quicker manner. And one thing I do want to talk to you about is Eon. Eon is a patch that reduces inflammation. We know that inflammation is the root cause of disease in the physical body. We can definitely see that. Most all of your doctors will tell you that your body's full of inflammation. They're looking at your blood work, your A1, you're looking at your C-reactive proteins or your homocysteines, your lipids, whatever it may be, they're looking at, and they're saying, okay, you have a lot of inflammation. Well, your option is to go on an anti-inflammatory, or you can use our Eon patch, which is a broad spectrum anti-inflammatory. It also helps bring the body into a parasympathetic state. We call that our happy patch, right? Bring the body into calm, rest, right, relax, digest state. When you use these two together, and I'm telling you this because I'm going to start answering these questions, and I'm going to say these two are for everything. Because David said, one of the first videos I watched with him, he said, these two patches are a must. I call them the dynamic duo. They're a must because you have inflammation in your body. When you elevate your own stem cells, or even if you were to inject stem cells, right? Stem cells are drawn to inflammation. They want to repair that area. Inflammation consumes stem cells. It's what it does. It consumes stem cells. And so then you don't have as many to repair and regenerate as you could. When you bring the inflammation down, at the same time you're elevating your stem cells, you set the body up for a more rapid, dramatic repair and regeneration process. So in my opinion, which is obviously David's, these two would be where you would start for anything and everything to get your body into balance, bringing down the level of inflammation as you're elevating your own stem cells to go to work wherever is needed. From there, we can use a patch or two. We can use all of them, honestly, but we can use a patch or two to help you assist in something specific that you may have going on. If you're in pain, you're going to use these two patches. You can use them on the location. You can use them right there where it hurts. If your hip hurts, put them both on your hip, but you want to use the ice wave as well. These are not designed to get rid of the pain on the spot. It's not what they're created to do. But we know sometimes when we reduce inflammation, inflammation can cause pain. So we can see pain reduction. And we know sometimes X39 can get rid of pain right away. Sometimes it takes a while. We just can't say 100%. But we can say 100% that ice wave gets rid of pain on the spot. That's what it does. That's what it's designed to do. So if you have pain, this is your pain protocol. This is what you use every single day. You won't end up needing the ice wave very long because your X39 and Eon are going to kick in and start to work to repair and regenerate those things to address that issue and help the body to heal it. The patches don't heal, the body does. But use your ice wave in the meantime, because you should not be living in pain. Pain reduces your quality of life. You don't sleep as well. Your mental clarity and functions are not there. Your quality of life is not as good as it could and should be if you were in pain. So let's get the pain down by getting the inflammation down, using this as needed instead of other things that are toxic to your body, right? To your organs. So always X39 and Eon. So I'm going to start answering some questions and I just read them right here off the chat. So if you have a question, you can put it in the chat and definitely I will get to it. If you wear the patch inside my sock or bra, do I have to peel the back of the paper off? You do not. So this patch, right, with the back on it, holding it like this is working. Sticking it in your bra or in your sock or in your jeans pocket is working. Your body emits heat or light about 2 to 4 inches out. So anytime you're touching it or it's coming in contact with your body's heat, it is working. So you can definitely do that for it to work. We have kids that are sensitive, right? They have sensory issues and they don't like things on their body. And so a lot of times parents will put them in their sock, or they'll put them in their jeans pocket, back pocket, or shirt pocket, or even in their pillowcase at night, right? Which is wonderful. If our body's heat activate the patches, if they're placed in a pocket near the body, yep, they're activated. Perfect. I just said that. Yep, absolutely. X39 revives a third of our stem cells. Does X49 revive stem cells as well? That's a great question. So X49 is David's most recent patch. That patch was created for a lot of things, but it was created to help build lean muscle mass, reduce body fat, stop bone loss, increase bone density. That is what David invented it for. Clinical studies showed improvements in grip strength, in bicep strength, shoulder, core muscles, legs, quads, things like that, endurance. So it was created for your younger generation of athletes, for people that wanted to be more athletic and have more ability, and also for the older population that were losing muscle mass, because we know that muscle mass is a definite indication of your longevity. We can see that. And so the difference in 39 and 49 is 39 signals GHK-Cu copper peptide, which elevates that, right, and moves that, resets a third of your genes and mobilizes stem cells. X49 signals a daughter peptide, AHK-Cu, which is responsible for all the things that I just mentioned. Okay, so not responsible for elevating and mobilizing your stem cells. It doesn't work in the exact same way. They work very well together synergistically. They work individually, but we can see in clinical studies, they exponentially work well together in those areas. We saw also from clinical studies, the benefits in the heart, reducing systolic and diastolic blood pressure, as well as in the brain with improving cognition and things like that as well too. So, and hair growth. So for those of you that have lost your hair from things, diseases, and we call those virus things that have popped up over the last couple of years, or you just want thicker, longer hair, you want your hair to turn back to its normal darker color, or maybe you don't. Yeah, he's showing me the top of his head. 3949 would be fantastic for that. Can you wear the patches if worn in the sun? Cause white bumps? We wear the patches in the sun all the time. You can definitely do that. Down here in Florida, we go to the beach a lot. We're out in the sun, we're riding bikes, things like that. And we don't have any problems wearing them in the sun. Do computers or cell phones cause any issues? The patches are stored nearby. No, mine are always right here in this bag, sitting right next to all my stuff. So that doesn't have anything to do with it. The only thing is you don't want to leave them in your car or in your mailbox, right? Heat activates them. As far as, blocking 5Gs, X49 blocks 5G. So it's fantastic to have X49 on to kind of keep all the EMFs and all that kind of stuff coming off your computer and whatnot as well too. 10 surgeries on their gut, intestines, their nerves are shot down there and they haven't been able to feel anything, not even a hug for years. Aww. She started X39 in January, hasn't felt much. She is starting to have tingling in those nerves. Yes, it can definitely repair nerves. We do see that. That does take time. So she's been about 4 months, but yeah. So outside of 49, I would definitely use the 39. I would use the Eon, and I would use 49 too. I think those would be fantastic for her. Study that proves that GHK activates. Yeah, so if you go to startx39now.com, you will be able to see all of the clinical studies, and they are there showing the elevation of GHK-Cu copper peptide and what it does in the body with the stem cells. Let's see, do the patches work on everybody, or can some be immune? For example, different blood types. Has nothing to do with blood types. When you look at peptides, peptides are chains of proteins. We all have chains of proteins in our body, right? Tons of different ones. And so each patch signals a different peptide to do something different. It has no bearing whatsoever on your blood type or if you have any certain condition or issue at all. Nope, you're good to go. Can you use more than one on my elderly mother to jumpstart the process? You can. We see with X39 in any of the patches about a 20 to 30% increase when you use 2 or more of them at the same time. So typically what I would say to someone, if there's an acute injury, like when my son was in an accident at school, in gym, right, playing basketball, and he went up for a layup and the kid hit him in the air and he came down and sprained his ankle. Acute injury, I patched X39 Eon carnosine all over that area and was able to dramatically speed up his recovery time, right? He was off crutches in 24 hours instead of 2 weeks, like the doctor said, and he was back on the court dunking 7 days later. So, but you can, yes, you can. 81, just after 11 days on X39, no longer need hearing aids. Wow, that's fantastic. Hearing better than it was 5 years ago. And you've lost 4 pounds. Well, congratulations, Sylvia. I had a lady, Sunday, we did an event at a church with Yvonne, and Judy said that she had German measles as a baby. I'm guessing, I think she's in her 60s, maybe late 60s. I don't remember. But she had inflammation and scarring in her ears and her ear canals and everything. And her hearing had been about 44%. And in 2.5 weeks, she had it was literally up to 88% after using the patches. So that's fantastic. I'm hearing a lot about hearing, a lot about vision, eyes improving, people reducing their prescriptions. I know mine has went down as well. So that's fantastic. What are the potential negative side effects and risks? Reliance concerns. So we don't have any side effects at all. We don't have anything going into the body. So there's nothing to interact or contradict what you're doing. As far as risks, we don't have any risks because nothing's going into the body. The body will do what the body is going to do in its repair and regeneration process. And so I don't know what you mean by reliance concerns. So maybe Heather, you would like to elaborate that. Are the benefits quickly reversed if someone stops? Okay, so that's a great question. So when you look at regeneration, your body is regenerating on a daily basis. Cells, tissues, and organs are regenerating, right? Every 7 years, we're a whole new person, and organs do that much faster. So when you look at the aging process, that happens slower and slower and slower, right? Which is why we have the degeneration. So when you look at using this patch, let's say you used it for 6 months, whatever benefits you have gained, whatever regeneration has happened during that time, if you were to stop patching, you do not go back to where you were before. Your organs have repaired. Your cells have repaired, your tissues have repaired. So it's if you were saying that, for example, with my son and his ankle example, then if I just stopped patching him, then his ankle will be sprained again and he would have problems and he would need to be on crutches. No, it does not work that way. So regeneration happens. Functionality improves in your organs and your cells. It's like Dr. Sanders with his heart. 1 year later, and his heart is no longer functioning in its 70s, it's functioning in his 30s. Well, you can see that, right? When you do like an echocardiogram, you can see the functionality of the heart. So if he stopped patching right now, his heart doesn't immediately go back to a 75-year-old. It starts the aging process from that day forward in a same motion as it would, okay? And so that's a great question because people always want to ask, like, if this is something that's going to last or if it's just with the patch on right now. So it's kind of like if you think of an estrogen patch and if I don't use it, then it's not giving me the estrogen that I need. Or a pain patch, if I don't use the pain patch, then the pain's going to come back immediately. Or a medication, if I stop taking this blood pressure medication, my blood pressure is going to go right back through the roof. This is not masking a symptom. If you Google regenerative medicine, it'll help you to understand probably a little bit more even than what I said about the whole benefit of regenerative medicine. David Schmidt actually holds over 130 patents himself. Over 70 of them are in regenerative medicine, in stem cell technologies and therapy. So that's pretty amazing. So what other patches do you recommend with X39 if you have dry, cracked, and itchy skin? Well, I would definitely use the Eon, and I would also use the Alavita. The Alavita is a patch that works fantastic for the skin. It signals a peptide in the pineal gland, which is in the brain. It works with pituitary, hypothalamus, the frontal lobes. It does a lot, obviously. It definitely helps with the eczema, psoriasis, dermatitis, all those kinds of skin issues, lines, wrinkles, dark spots, saggy, crepey skin. So cracked, itchy skin would go in that category. It reduces oxidative stress and inflammatory stress in the body, and it does amazing things with your telomeres to help those in their lengthening process. Can you wear the patch if you're in the infrared, or should you take it off and put it back on? That's a personal choice, whatever you want to do. I wear my patch in the sauna. My husband, my son, they wear their patches in the infrared sauna. We don't have any issues with it. Thank you, Jenny, for putting the what to expect in there. I appreciate that. And Laura for putting my Start X39 now. Which patches support relief for sciatic pain? That would be definitely the X39 Eon and Icewave. You would put them on the area that it hurts. When you use the patch for 6 hours and take it off, can I put the patch on for 6 hours the next day, or once activated has a 12-hour lifespan? So the patch is designed to be used for 12 hours. You put it on in the morning, or put them on in the morning, and leave them on for 12 hours. And that's because that's what the clinical studies have shown. We don't have effectiveness showing a 6-hour window and then 6 hours the next. And it really depends on the environment, the situation with the patch. After that 12-hour period, that lattice structure inside of the patch starts to dissipate. And so you don't really have any effectiveness after that, if any. And so I would definitely use the patch for 12 hours and then throw it away and then use a new one the next day. That's what our clinical studies show to prove that we have actual results. We have no results saying that it's beneficial for 6 on, 6 off, and then to reuse it. So which of these patches should not be used simultaneously within the same 12-hour period? Glutathione, carnosine, SB6. Okay, so there are daytime only patches. That would be X. I don't have X49. It's in my son's room in the bathroom. He took mine out of my bag because his isn't in yet. But 39, 49, and Energy Enhancer are daytime only. 39, 49, Energy Enhancer are daytime only. You cannot wear them at night. Silent Nights and Alavita are nighttime only. Silent Nights is for sleep. Alavita increases your melatonin as well too, plus a lot of other things that I'd already mentioned. But these are nighttime only. You want to use these at night. The rest of the patches can be used day or night. We typically say SP6 during the day. This does work in your digestive system, so we like this during the day. I don't know anybody that's used it at night, so I don't want to say you can use it at night because we typically say daytime, but it's not like it's going to cause you to stay awake, but it does work in your digestive system. It's in our gut protocol, so I would use it during the day. But the rest of the patches are your personal choice. Nirvana, Icewave, Eon, Carnosine, Glutathione. You can use those day or night. It's totally up to you, whatever you want to do, whatever works in your schedule. X39 on her foot. She has a plate on the back of her neck for over 10 years. After a few minutes, she felt like nails were being stabbed in her head. She took the patch off and nails stopped. She tried another patch on her leg for 3 minutes and her head started feeling nails again. Now she won't try the 39. What else should she try that won't be so strong as the 39? Well, that is definitely not a normal thing that happens. I've never heard anyone say in 2 years that they had felt like there were nails stabbing in your head when you put the 39 on your foot. So for her, I would say try the Eon first, reduce some inflammation in her body. My guess is with a metal plate in her body, she probably has some heavy metal toxicity, possibly, depending on what that plate is. Maybe use the glutathione a couple times a week for her and help to see if that doesn't help her detox process. Glutathione is a master antioxidant detox or immune booster. Make sure she's drinking plenty of clean, healthy water, at least half your body weight in ounces every day to help her with that. But that's definitely not, that's not normal. So I don't know what's going on with her. If a person's dealing with an allergic reaction to the metals in dental implants or a full hip replacement, how effective can the patches be against pain and inflammation that allergy causes? So if you're having an allergic reaction to metals in dental implants, obviously get them out correctly by a holistic dentist. That would be fantastic. The patches are completely effective with people, even if they have amalgams, mercury, things like that in their body. That's not going to not allow you to have the benefits from the patches. Most people have mercury fillings in their head, in their teeth, unfortunately, which leach into their brain, right? So we would definitely want to get those out and do, different types of heavy metal detoxes with your functional or holistic type of doctor that can help you through that process. Can you explain how the patches differ with the crystal lattice and how they all create different peptides? So they don't create different peptides. Each patch has a different combination of what David has invented, which is a proprietary blend of organic amino acids and oxygen, water, sugars, and salts. Those form together differently in order to signal with different wavelengths of light, signal different peptides in the body, okay? So each patch is responsible for emitting or reflecting back a very specific wavelength of light that signals a different peptide in the body. And again, this is what's been proven in the clinical studies. Someone had ACL surgery in the right knee. I have a screw in it. It will have no effect on the screw. We have lots of people that have had surgeries. They have screws, they have nuts, they have bolts, they have rods in their body. I've never had anybody say they've had any issues. If anything, it's helped reduce their pain in those areas. Any research on effects of people with kidney disease? We don't have any specific diseases that we look at, but we look at functionality of organs. And interestingly enough, I did an event this past weekend with Laura, the Women's Expo. And before it started, a lady came up to me, Tina, that has been using the patches for about 5 months now. Her husband was in that exact same situation with his kidney levels not being where they needed to be and going quickly down the wrong direction. And so she said 5 months he's been using X39, Eon, carnosine, and glutathione. And she said now his kidney functions normal, where it was like 1.62, I think she said, and now it's 1.31. So as far as safe, I can't say that. You have to obviously check with your doctor with your situation, but we do have clinical studies that show the benefits of, we call it the Y-age series, the X39, the Eon, and the carnosine, and how they impact the organs in the body. And we also have clinical studies on Alavita and how it impacts the organs in the body and improves the functionality of the organs in the body. How can X49 work for osteoporosis? Is a good option with X39. So Diane, if you go to startx39now.com, you can see the clinical studies on 39 and 49 together and how they have been able to stop bone loss and increase bone density in the body. So those work wonderfully together to do that. We've not felt much from the 39 and 49 yet, but the first use of arthritic joint the next AM, no pain and movement restored. So we're patient about stem cells making us healthier. That's fantastic. Yeah, so stem cell regeneration happens over time. And like I said, about 80% of the people, 80% of the people feel something in the first 3 to 6 weeks. And sometimes it takes 3 to 6 months to feel something. And I'll be honest with you, for me, I could tell a difference in my workout around 3 to 4 weeks. I could tell a difference in the processing time in my brain, but that's all I've ever felt. I felt good before. I had no issues. I had no symptoms, no conditions, no pains, no problems. And so I'm using this technology for prevention of the big top 5 things, right? Heart disease, diabetes, cancer, Alzheimer's, dementia. Not going to have those things on my list because I'm preventing that, right? By keeping my body young and youthful and healthy on the inside. And so I don't feel anything. I don't feel anything different. But I don't feel anything different when I eat a salad either. And I do that every day, right? When I eat lots of veggies, saute veggies in the skillet, I don't feel anything different, but I know it's sure better than eating a piece of cake, right? Which may make me feel like crap. And I also meditate every single day, and I go for walks, and I ground out in the grass, and I get good night's sleep, and I exercise daily. And it's not that I have these like life-changing things that I feel from them, They're all part of good, healthy diet and lifestyle practices for longevity and vitality. So if you haven't felt anything yet, it's okay. Stay consistent with the patches. And, we have people that say sometimes they don't feel anything for 6 months. And then all of a sudden they start to notice things are different, right? Or maybe sometimes people have used the patches and then they stop and they're like, I didn't feel anything. And then they're like, whoa, I had a lady tell me yesterday that her husband didn't think it was working. And then he stopped and his pain came back with a vengeance. And he's like, no, give me the patch back. Give me the patch back. I didn't realize it actually took away the pain. A lot of times when you have pain and the pain's gone, you don't even realize it because we're not punished by having to feel that pain over and over again when it's really not there. And so you forget that you're able to bend down and tie your shoes and have no issues with that. You forget that you're actually even able to touch your feet, right? Let alone walk up the stairs like a normal child. Most people are used to walking up a step 1 foot at a time, right? And then all of a sudden you're going, and you're climbing 3 or 4 flights of steps and back up and down, and you have no problems. So you don't realize those little things that are happening over time, but they really are. So stick with it. What patch do you recommend for someone with foot neuropathy? So when you look at the pain in the feet, we use X39 Eon and we put Icewave on the bottoms of the feet. K1 points are right here. So use that to the bottom. Dr. Peavy's a chiropractor that I interviewed, and whoever invited you can share his testimonial and his experience with you. But he's using these patches specifically in his practice, which is a chiropractor that focuses on neuropathy and having fantastic results with his clients. What patches might improve the life of someone with autism? So when you're looking at the brain, because I can't speak specifically to autism, but when you're looking at the brain, we would look at X39 and Eon and carnosine. Carnosine improves cognition, communication, balances left brain, right brain hemisphere. It helps with executive functions in the brain. It's processing time, speeds up, that functionality of the brain. So I would definitely use these 3 patches, anything to do with the brain. Let's see. We are not here to heal, treat, or cure. No, we're not making any of those claims. You can use Eon at night if you want to. Absolutely. If you're someone that can't shut your monkey mind off, Eon does not put you to sleep. It helps bring your body into a parasympathetic state, which is more of a relaxed, calm state. And so you can definitely put it below your belly button at night. That triple warmer spot is a great place to do it. There is no bundle for Eon and 39. We have an X39 49 performance bundle. How well does X39, Eon, and 49 work together if they're all worn together? They work amazing. I would use all of them together every day. I love it. Let's see. Any recommendations for back pain? Yep, we talked about that. 39, Eon, Icewave. You can use 49 as well too. X49 is another one that we do see clinical study results with that patch in reduction of pain, usually in the beginning, and then again in a couple of weeks later when you look at the studies. But I definitely 39, Eon, and Icewave. If 39 and 49 and Eon, what is needed for stem cell repair? We're using 39, 49, only use others for pain or lack of motion because muscle testing replacement, which I'm not really for sure what you're saying. Sorry. That doesn't really make a lot of sense. I'm not really for sure what you're saying there. Sorry. That doesn't make sense to me at that time. Maybe reword that question in a question. Does it matter if you wear the 39? Yes, it matters. 39 is day only. It's definitely not a patch you wear at night. Eon causes me restless sleep, therefore I wear it during the day. That's good. Maybe that's just you individually. Obviously, a lot of people wear it at night to help them to relax, to be able to sleep. Made my hair grow back. Fantastic. There are third-party. Yes, we have independent studies, all done by different doctors and labs. So check out the X39 now.com. If you're looking at anything with skin, X39 and definitely Eon and Alavita. Those are skin patches. Valve replacement for heart, which patch to use? So if we just look at the heart in general to help with heart health, like I mentioned, I have Zooms on my YouTube channel about that specifically, but 39, 49, Eon, and carnosine are fantastic for the heart. They're only activated for 14 hours. What if you carry them near your body? Does it deplete the time? I don't know what you mean by that. Do you mean all of them? Like if you put all of them on your, I would not put all of them near your body for sure. One of each patch at a time. Leave the rest of them away from your body. You don't want to activate them, and you don't know what will happen if you wear all of them close to you at one time. I don't either, and I don't want to know. Can someone with rheumatoid arthritis wear the silent nights? April, who's on here, actually had RA symptoms of that, right? And use the silent nights. So yes, you could definitely use that. She could probably answer that a little bit better because she's had that exact experience. Best supported patch for daily hot sweats. So I would use the Eon and the SP6 along with the X39, of course. Placements for skin issues, just put it on the body anywhere, below the belly button, back of the neck, on that spot or location near it is perfectly fine. Remember, this happens over time, so it's not like you're putting on a cortisone cream to get rid of the itch instantly. These patches work to repair the issues, so keep that in mind, okay? If I'm reversing my aging, will I go back to menopause or even having a period? That's a good question. You know, I know Laura's on here. She's 60 and still has regular menstrual periods. Some people don't like that, but we know that the longer you have a menstrual cycle, the longer you will live, because that is definitely a sign of health and vitality and longevity. We've had a couple people that have had some breakthrough bleeding where your body has gotten rid of some excess that was stuck in there, but not someone that's actually literally full blown, you know, had menopause again. No. I recently had lab work done and there was an issue with my red blood cells. There are many oval shaped to different shades, new cells coming from my bone marrow prematurely. Would the X39 be doing that? No. X39 does definitely not make your red blood cells shaped odd at all. We haven't seen that in any of our clinical studies, and we do microscopy in our studies. We look at these cells and we actually can see the repairing of the abnormal looking cells. My husband has an old scar tissue on the bottom of his foot. What are the best patches to reduce the scar tissue? X39 Eon, Alavida. You can put them on the spot if you want. You can put them any spot works. Remember, these patches are working systemically. I say put them on the spot because you all think that's how it works, because you're used to a transdermal patch that's putting something in the body on that location, but they are working systemically no matter what. You can put the patches on the top of your head and they're going to activate the peptides in the body to do what is needed, I promise. So when you look at gut issues, I would look at X39, Eon, SP6, and glutathione. When you look at the eyes, you would add in the carnosine as well as the X39 and Eon. Restrictions are just depending on day and night, right? Like I already mentioned. Your eyesight improved, that's fantastic. Should the patches be worn where suggested on diagrams? That's a great question, and then we're going to have to end there. So we do have, like I said, over 90 clinical studies. David has chosen to use the traditional Chinese method of acupuncture points that are connected to specific meridians to be able to test the effectiveness of improving the functionality of organs and cells and tissues in the body and the systems in the body. And so you can pick a spot on the instruction booklet that comes with your patch, pick a spot, stay with it for 7 days, stay with it the whole time, but at least stay with it for 7 days until you try a different spot. Try different spots out. They're connected to different meridians. So maybe you'll feel something differently than you did at a different spot, but you can stick the patches anywhere. They are going to elevate that peptide no matter what. But these spots are what we've used for clinical studies. Clinical studies have to have controlled situations with people day after day, week after week, month after month. If you have any other questions, please get back with the person that invited you. They are more than happy to help you with your questions and be able to give you the correct information and documentation so that you can make an educated decision yourself to be able to use this technology. Just know that even if you've never heard of this before, that this is something that can definitely help you improve your quality of life. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain, right? Time is going to go on no matter what. We are either going to improve our quality of life and feel better and get younger, or we're going to not. And the way I look at it is I'm going to do all the things that I can to make sure that I stay young and healthy and have a long, vital life, preventing those as much as possible, right? And this is a tool in my toolbox that I came across 2 years ago that I have by far seen supersede everything I've seen in 20 years of holistic health. This, hands down, is the most effective, simple, easy, and affordable technology that of anything I've ever seen. So please get back with that person that invited you and let them know what questions you have, and they can help you get set up with whatever patches work best for you.